Celebrities doing a lot of good things for people, talking about things people just ain't ready to hear.
This week on Celebrity Talk Show. It's a relationship episode today, you guys. That's right, we have more relationship topics that we know you all are going to love.
There's a certain ebb and flow in the conversation.
Okay, Brock, listen to me very carefully.
Sometimes you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations.
Navigate and view life's ups and downs.
These things are non-negotiable.
We're all constantly growing.
And they might think you're a little crazy.
But you kind of got to see someone at their best and worst.
Because otherwise, you will get divorced.
You pray to God and then he will fall from the sky.
It'll work one day.
You're going to live a long and happy life.
Everybody loves different.
I stay away from that now.
To be with someone who understands me.
If you are honest with yourself and you know what you want.
You know, if you don't, eventually it's not going to work out.
That is good for people that are shy, that are a little bit sensitive.
Because it takes 3 months for the real crazy to come out.
So, fingers crossed and good luck.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Celebrity Talk Show. I'm your host, Brittany, Saralynn, and I thank you all so very much for joining me today. If you're not already subscribed, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. We have a ton of great content and giveaways on the way for all of you, and we don't want you all to miss out. It's a relationship episode today, you guys. That's right, we have more relationship topics that we know you all are going to love. And as usual, we brought in some amazing individuals to help us out. Okay, before we get started, let me share with you all the scripture of the day. Today it comes from 1 Peter 5:10. And the God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory in Christ, after you have suffered a little while, will himself restore you and make you strong, firm, and steadfast. Today and every day at Celebrity, we want to encourage you to never give up and to wait on God's promises. All right, you guys, let's jump into these topics. Our first topic, how soon is too soon to tell someone you love them? Now, I don't personally think that there's a set time to this one. I'm definitely not saying to go out there day one, minute one, literally upon meeting someone and say, hey, I love you, because you might scare them and they might think you're a little crazy. So don't do that. But I do believe that it's possible for someone to know within a matter of days if they have love for someone. This doesn't mean you have to rush anything. It may just mean that you're in tune with your feelings. Now, I'm not talking about that initial infatuation phase. And I'm definitely not talking about when you first meet someone and you have those butterflies and those 6 or 8 hour phone conversations. The feelings that you experience during those times typically stem from those "this is new to me" endorphins. After you get past all of that, I do think it's possible to notice that you have love for someone fairly quickly and that there shouldn't be a set time to this. You could get to know someone better within the first few hours or few days than someone else could in months of knowing the same individual. So I believe there's no real way to tell when love may strike your heart, but I do believe that it could be a lot sooner than a lot of people care to admit. And just because you know you love someone doesn't mean you're ready to walk down the aisle. Love is a feeling. I also think that most people feel love a while before they tend to express it. So telling someone and feeling it are two completely different things. If everyone told their mate what they were feeling as soon as they started feeling love, I think a lot of people would be shocked. Just be careful not to confuse love with lust or just being awestruck because there's someone new in your life.
Hey, Brittany. So I think telling someone you love them should never happen under 3 months. Honestly, you should probably wait till about 6 if you're me. But really, if you're me, I'm waiting for them to say it first just to kind of protect myself there. But you kind of got to see someone at their best and worst to really tell if you love them, right?
It depends. If you are the type of person who, after a girl says hi back to you and you start imagining having kids with her, then it's probably a good idea to ask your friends if you actually love them, right? But if you are the type of person who knows themselves, like you know yourself, you're self-aware, and then you feel a feeling in your heart, in your gut that says this is the best time, this is the time to do it, then you do it at that time. In other words, there is no timeline for telling someone I love you. Sometimes it is really, you meet someone and you go like, I really love you. If you know yourself, right? You're not just going by looks, then you can say I love you even when you glance at someone.
Honestly, if you two have already built a genuine connection, I don't feel like there's any reason anyone should be withholding their genuine feelings, as long as the two understand the difference between codependency and trauma bonding. If you just met this person 2 days in and they're already in love with you, maybe they're psychotic.
Well, my personal experience and opinion is that you should never tell anyone that you love them before 3 months. 3 months is absolute minimum because it takes 3 months for the real crazy to come out in a lot of people. Now, I would also maybe add another couple months to that. So I'm going to say 6 months. And hopefully the person is on the same page and also is in love with you.
I mean, obviously, a couple weeks in or whatever. But I think when you have a really good connection, a couple months in, you're good. Before that, creep alert. You know what I mean? Come on, man. You want to know me for a couple weeks, you already love me? Something a little iffy about that. We not in high school no more.
Truthfully, I think there's no time limit on that. If you are honest with yourself and you know what you want, you can tell anybody anything. And if they don't believe it, that's on them. But I don't think it's too soon. I don't think it's never too soon. I would want to tell somebody I love them as early as possible.
Well, Brittany, when it comes down to telling someone that you love them, I would say I wouldn't put a time on it, honestly. Everybody loves different and everybody falls in love at certain times. Too soon is really never too soon, but too long is really never too long also. So honestly, it just depends on the person. I've seen people tell someone they love them the next day and they be together for 20 years. But I've seen people that wait 2 years to tell someone they love them and they be together 2 days.
Our next topic, what's the best way to meet someone if you're single? So now I know we have a lot of ways of meeting people these days, thanks to the internet and social media. Online dating is so popular and so many people are swiping left and right. And I'm sure those options are useful and great. But in my personal opinion, I believe the best way to meet someone is to go where you love to be. This way you find people that are like-minded and are already on your level. If you love to read and you're always at the library, you may bump into someone there. Or if you love to bowl and you're constantly hanging out at the bowling alley, you may find the love of your life there. If you desire the finer things in life, surround yourself with people that do as well, and you may meet your equal in those circles. If you're into cosplay or video games, maybe go to a convention. If you're an intellectual, go where you feel other intellectuals are. I believe doing this almost always gives you a great starting point, and you already know you have something in common with the person, and you can build from there. Now, don't get me wrong. Some will meet their mates in the grocery store or on a train or just out for your regular day. But if you're actively trying to meet someone, I think this is a great option too. The one thing my mother always told me, though, was to just live my life and that it would happen when I least expected it. So just live your life. Love will always find its way.
First of all, I want to say what's up to my girl, Brittany. What's up, girl? I want to say the best way for me to have met the guy that I started dating for a long period of time is online. I think that it's good for people that are shy, that are a little bit sensitive, and also you can get to know somebody a little bit more before you meet them in person.
Hey Brittany, in my opinion, I think the best way to meet someone when you're single is definitely going to social events, clubs, parties, concerts. Try to find yourself in a room with people that are energetic, hot, and have vibes.
When it comes to social gatherings, when it's time to meet someone, I would say go to somewhere where you meet someone that it has a genuine and good intentions, like church, go to amusement parks, go to like shows. I go to comedy shows, and you meet some guys that have at least a good sense of humor that may mean well. I don't recommend girls to be going out to nightclubs and anything that signifies a booty call, because again, the places that you go or the things that you do will signify what type of person you will meet.
Don't forget, the best relationships come from friendships. And if you're not a social person, sometimes you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations.
You want to meet a good guy, that you guys need to go either online, vet him out, see what he's talking about, get to chat a little bit more, or go to those places where genuine men usually hang out, and that would be church.
Or just comment heart eyes under their post. I do it all the time with my celebrity crushes. It'll work one day.
For me personally, I would say bars and clubs and doing what you like to do. So like, let's say your interest is sports. Then you go to Yankee Stadium and then you find someone there and then you start a conversation. Hey, those hot dogs look nice. Do you want to try mine? I'm just kidding. Don't do that. That was a joke I made up. But you know what I mean? Like you can go and talk to the people in the things that you are interested in. And that's how you can spark conversation. And I really think that's how you'll find your soulmate.
I'd say the best way to meet someone is to pray to God and then he will fall from the sky. I don't use any apps. I would say depending on what your personal interests and hobbies are, just allow yourself to get out of the house. I mean, especially for someone like me, I'm introverted, so I barely leave, and I don't like large group settings. I like more intimate spaces. So if you're someone who's more introverted, maybe you could try speakeasies or lounge kind of settings, or if you have certain activities you like to get outside, go hiking, find groups in your community that does that together, you know, but never do anything without first setting an intention. And I would also say don't go out looking. I know that may sound counterintuitive, but you don't want to be looking for something and then something shows up and you're like, yay, something. You don't want to approach something from a place of desperation or lack, really. You just want something, you want to allow something of high quality to come into your life, but you also want to set the intention and allow yourself to be visible. So that's all going out really is, no matter where you're going.
Hands down, it is in person. In person is the best way. This way, there's an immediate chemistry. You know that you like them right away. You have something in common. You're talking to them. There's body language, eye contact. Best way is to meet somebody in person. Now, I have a comment about the online dating. Online dating is the second best way, but it may take you years to find somebody you even like because you have to meet them first, and that takes some work.
It's probably through friends or family, just because people they associate with will probably have a common moral ground with yourself. So you probably have a better chance of meeting the right person if you do it with your friends and family.
It really depends on who you're trying to meet, but the best way to meet somebody if you're single is to go outside. Literally take yourself out your comfort zone or your literal house and to go outside. You're going to meet somebody new each time.
Brittany, the best way to meet someone is to get out there and enjoy yourself. Join lots of clubs like tennis clubs, golf clubs, bowling clubs, whatever takes your fancy. If you don't like sport, volunteer. There are lots of organisations out there crying out for people to help, and they have a cross-section of people helping them of all different backgrounds, all different interests. So you'll meet a lot of people that way. Also, the dating sites. They've had a lot of success with dating sites. A lot of people have met their partners through it. So whatever you do, just get out there and enjoy yourself. And who knows, your partner or potential next partner could be standing right next to you. So fingers crossed and good luck.
Our third question, how important is it for you to have things in common with your mate? So in my opinion, it is extremely important to make sure you have things in common with the person you're choosing to spend the rest of your life with. Clearly, you're most likely not going to have everything in common, but I do think it's important to have some things. And I truly think it adds to the experiences you can have together and the things that you can talk about, which can add to the love growing and building. Not to mention, I definitely think it's important to have the major things in common, like your spirituality, how you feel about children, finances, commitment. These things are non-negotiable when it comes to making sure you're on the same page, and get as detailed as you can with these things. And I also think it's important to explore the things that interest your partner every once in a while. At least find a couple of things that you can be a part of. Now, I'm not saying to be phony. Like if you're not a sports fan, you don't have to pretend to be the biggest sports fan of all time, but just try to join them when they're taking part in these activities. And trust me, it will mean the world to them. And I have found that when you do this, you usually end up taking an interest in that particular activity too. You may never reach the level of interest as your partner, but you usually get into it enough that it doesn't seem like a chore. And this also helps to add to and build the love that you're growing between each other.
Hi Brittany, to answer your question, I think it's very important, as it's only natural that people who like the same things tend to like each other. There's a certain ebb and flow in the conversation with people you share common interests with, a lot of which can be predicated on a shared interest in humour, or the way in which you both navigate and view life's ups and downs. That's in a nutshell, but in any relationship, romantic or platonic, compatibility is key.
Okay, Brock, listen to me very carefully. You better have your values and your ideas matched up with your partner. Because otherwise, you will get divorced in a couple of months to a couple of years. Guaranteed. Make sense? Your values, your core values, doesn't matter what they are, they better match with the other person.
Brittany, I think it is extremely important to have common things with your partner, your mate. I think that eventually, you know, if you don't, eventually it's not going to work out. You need to be able to grow together and learn together, and you want to be able to enjoy the things that you enjoy with somebody else. So I think it's extremely important to have at least a few things in common with your partner.
Is it important? I think obviously, right? So if you have a lot in common, that's awesome. You're going to have fun together. You're going to be able to have the same interest and really explore life together if you're looking to do that. That being said, I don't think it's great to be the exact same type of person because you can butt some heads there.
You're not always going to like the same things, but if you can shape your lives around what you love together, you're going to live a long and happy life.
It's important that we have common goals or certain missions and ambitions that kind of align with each other. It's important that we have common value systems, you know, that we have common styles of communicating and teaching, you know, when it comes to children. As far as us liking the same specific things, it would be nice to be with someone who understands me in a particular way without judging me. But as long as I feel like two people respect each other, there's no need for them to be into the same exact things.
I think having things in common with your significant other is huge. I wouldn't say everything because, of course, you don't want to be boring and mundane, the fact that you guys are literally the same person. But having things in common is good because then you'll be able to relate and have a good time with each other.
I'm going to say very important because I would like to have something I could talk to somebody about and relate to on a deeper level, surface level, just on a relatable level.
Our last question: how long is too long to wait to get married? Now, I know you all, like me, have heard this one swirling around the internet a lot. We're constantly seeing those posts that say, it doesn't take a man that long to know if he wants to marry you, or a man knows within the first few months if he wants to make you his wife. And while that may be true, I don't believe that there's a set timeline to this one either. I think people get too caught up into this sometimes. In my opinion, I think the most important thing to remember when it comes to marrying someone is making sure that it's the right time for you. Regardless of how quick or slow that is, just make sure that you're ready and don't do it based on anyone else's expectations. The bottom line is marriage is work, y'all. And if you're not ready to put in the work, the time, and commitment, please don't get married. Just don't do it. Marriage is a lifetime commitment, and no one should be getting married with the thought of potential divorce. So if it's not your time and you're not ready, don't get married until you are. And this goes for men and women.
Brittany, thank you so much for having me on the show. CeleBritty's doing a lot of good things for people, talking about things people just aren't ready to hear. But you know what I'm talking about. So, marriage. Marriage is important. I've been married now for just about 10 years. I've been together with my wife, my partner, for 14 years, off and on. The first 2 or 3 years were really rough, very volatile. And that's what brings me to my whole point with this. There is no length of time that is too long before you get married. There is definitely a period of time that is too short. If you really love your partner, we're all unique people. We're all constantly growing and constantly making mistakes. Your partner is never going to be their quote-unquote perfect self. But by communicating, actively listening, you and your partner can work together to make sure your relationship is perfect for the two of you, not for the world, not necessarily your family or your friends or your job or even the state you live in nowadays. But the main thing that has to matter is the two of you together.
Here's the thing. We have senses in our mind. We always want new things, novel things. Once you find a girlfriend, you always find the other person attractive. Same thing for the other sex. So your goal is to make sure that you control your mind in that sense. And for that, I would say, like, if your values match with the other person, you get married whenever you feel that you have talked about finances, you talk about relationships, you talk about what you want from them, who's going to live where, how you're going to get support, who's going to raise the kids, if you want the kids. Like, you have had every single conversation, you were compatible in bed, you love each other to death, you tell yourself and you train yourself such that you're not gonna eye another human being on this planet, then you're ready to get married. You could reach at that point when you are in 1 year of a relationship or when you are in 10 years of a relationship.
I personally will wait at least 5 years, kind of see someone through their ups and downs, see how they're growing, see what their aspirations are, not just by what they're saying, but you'll give you some time within 5 years to really see those actions.
I feel like if two people have the same common goals, you know, which should be discussed before the relationship, children, and marriage, if they know that they are dating for the point of, you know, walking down the path of marriage, if they know that that's what their intentions are, again, that word intention, if they know that that's their intention, I feel like they can discuss what's practical for them and to plan out a marriage, to plan out a wedding. You know what I'm saying? I feel like long engagements are important to get into the groove of being together in that particular way in that next step. But yeah, I don't really feel like there's a certain time frame.
How long is too long to wait to get married? Never long enough. Marriage is one of the biggest choices you'll make in your life, and you don't want to make the wrong one.
Alright, from a male perspective, I feel like a year or two in, you pretty much know. You pretty much know this is the one person you want to be with, and not. Other than that, at that point, you're just playing with her time, and so on and so forth, until you find something you want better. You know what I mean? So too long, I think after like a year or two, in my opinion, it's a little too long to know if you want to propose. Doesn't mean, you know what I'm saying, you propose and then you wait a couple years before you get married, but about 2 years you should know. You know what I mean?
Don't feel rushed. If your partner's rushing you, talk about it. If you can't talk it out, then that might be a sign it's time to walk away. But nothing should feel like jail or entrapment or like there's chains on you dragging you down. And I hope everyone finds a situation that works for them. But there's no time limit. Don't do that to yourself. There's no time limit on your career. There's no time limit on your dreams. There's no time limit on your relationships. So do what makes you happy. Do what brings you peace. And keep listening to Brittany.
All right, you guys, I think we've covered enough for today. But as always, we want to know your thoughts on these topics. So please drop them in the comments. And if you're interested in guest starring on an episode of Celebrity, email us at submissions@celebrity.com. Again, I'm your host, Brittany Saralynn. I thank you so very much for joining me today, and we'll see you all next time. Make sure you're subscribed and that your post notifications are on.